It starts always the same way. Silence. Just silence pressing against your ears like 1,000 tons of weight. You sit there in the dark and realize no one's coming. No one's saving you. No one's clapping for you. And that's when the real war starts. The one inside your own damn chest. They call it loneliness. I call it the battlefield where men either break or become unbreakable. Ha 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 ha. You see, people love to talk when they're surrounded by crowds, when the room is full of fake smiles and plastic promises. But strip it all away, leave a man with nothing but his pain and his thoughts, and that's where the truth shows. That's where you find out if you're weak, or if you're the type that learns how to bleed quietly and keep walking like nothing happened. Alone but all right. That's the anthem, that's the prayer, that's the curse and the blessing in one. Let me tell you something harsh. Nobody cares about the tears you hide in the bathroom mirror. Nobody's counting the nights you stayed awake staring at the ceiling, fighting demons with no names. The world doesn't pay for pity, it pays for results. And you, my brother, my warrior, you gotta understand, being alone is not your punishment. It's your training ground. Every second of silence is sharpening you. Every time you eat alone, walk alone, cry alone, it's carving steel into your bones. Because when you finally stand, you'll be standing with something nobody can take away. Self-respect. People betrayed you, didn't they? You gave them trust, they turned it into a weapon. You gave them love, they gave you scars. You carried their burdens, they left you carrying your own. That's the price of believing in fragile souls. But listen, stop crying for doors that closed. They didn't slam in your face to destroy you. They shut to keep you away from small rooms you outgrew. Alone but all right means you stopped begging at tables where your hunger was mocked. It means you built your own damn table, fed yourself, and left them starving on the crumbs of their ego. I'll say it brutally. Stop expecting people to save you. The day you realize no one is coming is the day you finally rise. Warriors aren't born in comfort. They're forged in the furnace of abandonment. You think your pain is killing you. It's not. It's molding you. It's teaching you how to carry your own blood, your own fire, your own cross. And when the time comes, when the world tests you again, you'll look around and see no one. But instead of fear, you'll smile, because you'll know, alone but all right. So cry tonight if you have to. Let the tears fall. Let the heart scream. But when the sun rises, wear your scars like armor. Walk with your silence like it's thunder. They won't understand you. They'll whisper about your solitude. They'll mock your distance. But they'll never admit they envy the power you found in the dark. You're not broken, my brother. You're just unaccompanied on the road meant only for the chosen. Keep walking, keep fighting, keep bleeding quietly. Because the moment you stop, you lose. And warriors don't lose. They may cry, they may break, they may bleed, but they never quit. Alone but all right. That's not weakness. That's the purest strength a man can carry. You know what hurts the most? It's not the loneliness itself. It's the memory of when you weren't alone. The laughter, the promises, the "I'll always be here for you." Lies, all of it. That's what burns like acid in your chest. Because it's not the silence that kills you. It's the echoes of voices that swore they'd never leave. But let me tell you something raw, something the weak don't like to hear. Betrayal is the best teacher. It's the professor that doesn't sugarcoat the lesson. It rips the bandage off and shows you the reality. You can't lean on people like broken crutches. If you do, you'll fall with them. Alone but all right means you finally threw away the damn crutches and taught your legs to walk without support. Painful, yes. Necessary, absolutely. Look around you. Everybody's fighting for attention, validation, applause. They're starving for eyes on them. But a warrior doesn't need an audience. A warrior performs in the shadows, trains in silence, bleeds where no one sees. And when the day of reckoning comes, he steps out, not to brag, but to dominate. That's you. That's who you have to become. And if you're thinking, but I can't take the weight, I'm tired, I'm broken, listen carefully. That's the exact weight building your strength. The ones who quit will never know the beauty of walking alone into the storm and coming out alive. Yeah, it's sad. Yeah, it's unfair. But life doesn't give a damn about fair. Life is a battlefield that rewards only two things: discipline and resilience. Alone but all right means you picked discipline over distraction, resilience over pity. It means you turned your scars into a story of survival instead of excuses. People will always choose comfort over truth. You chose pain, and that pain is the passport to power. Remember this. While they laugh at your solitude, you're building something they can't even dream of. I know the nights are the hardest. I know the pillow catches more confessions than any friend ever did. But those tears, brother, are not weakness. They're proof you're alive, proof you're fighting. A dead soul doesn't cry. It rots quietly. But you, even in your grief, are alive enough to ache. And that ache is the evidence that you're not done yet. Alone but all right isn't about pretending you're fine. It's about admitting you're broken, then using the shards to cut through every obstacle in your way. Do you understand? Nobody's coming. Nobody. And once you swallow that truth, once it burns down your throat and sets your chest on fire, you'll finally taste freedom. Because the man who expects nothing is untouchable. The man who stands alone is unstoppable. They can't disappoint you anymore. They can't abandon you anymore. They can't break you anymore. Because you've already accepted the worst. They left, and you survived. That's the badge of the grieving warrior. You don't beg for love. You don't chase after shadows. You stay still, you build, you bleed, and you wait. And one day when you step back into the world, they'll look at you and wonder how you made it without them. And you'll look them straight in the eye with silence as your only answer. Because silence is the loudest revenge. And solitude is the deadliest power. Alone, but all right. That's how legends are made. You ever sit in a room so quiet that you start hearing your own heartbeat like it's mocking you? That's the kind of silence that strips a man bare. It takes everything you thought you were, everything you thought you had, and it shreds it into dust. And you sit there, asking yourself, why me? Why the hell did they walk away? Why am I the one left behind? Haha. But here's the truth no one wants to face. Everyone leaves eventually. Some go early, some go late. But everybody chooses themselves when the fire gets too hot. And you're left holding the ashes, wondering how to breathe. That's when you realize this life doesn't reward those who need saving. It rewards those who crawl out of the wreckage alone, with their lungs full of smoke and their eyes full of rage. Alone but all right. That's not a slogan. It's survival written in blood. Let me break it down for you. People admire strength from a distance, but they run when they see the price of it up close. They can't handle your scars, your sleepless nights, your haunted eyes. They want the finished product, not the man in the making. So they vanish, and you're forced to pick up your own broken pieces. And that, my brother, is a blessing disguised as cruelty. Because the day you rebuild yourself without help is the day nobody on this earth can claim they made you. Alone but all right means your story belongs to you, and only you. The streets taught me this lesson long before life carved it into my chest. Nobody respects the one who begs. Respect comes from fear, from power, from proving you don't need them. And when you stop needing, when you stop calling, when you stop waiting, that's when they start noticing. Funny, isn't it? The second you go silent, the second you turn cold, suddenly the ones who left are curious. They want to know how you're still breathing without their so-called love. Laugh. They don't realize your solitude became your weapon. They don't realize every night you spent crying turned into steel in your spine. Alone but all right means you turned grief into discipline, and discipline into dominance. Listen, warrior. Loneliness isn't the end. It's the furnace. It burns away illusions, burns away weakness, burns away the parts of you that depended on people who were never built to stay. And what's left? Something terrifying, something unbreakable. People won't understand you anymore. They'll call you cold, they'll call you heartless, they'll say you've changed. Damn right you changed. You had to. Nobody survives the battlefield of abandonment by staying soft. You either harden or you die. Alone but all right means you chose life. Don't think for a second that your tears make you weak. Real men cry, real men grieve. But here's the difference. Real warriors don't drown in it. They let the tears fall. Then they stand back up, wipe their face, and sharpen their blade. Every drop is fuel. Every ache is instruction. Every scar is a map of where you've been and where you refuse to go back. And when the world looks at you, they won't see the crying man. They'll see the fighter who refused to stay broken. Alone but all right. It's the creed of the forgotten, the anthem of the betrayed. The vow of the warrior who found himself when nobody else would stand beside him. So sit with your pain tonight. Hold it, stare at it, let it rip through you. And when dawn comes, rise with eyes colder, steps heavier, and a heart no longer begging for mercy. Because the truth is harsh, no one's coming. But maybe that's the gift. Because it forces you to become the man you were always meant to be. Alone, but all right. You know what solitude really is? It's not just the absence of people. It's the confrontation with yourself. It's when the voices stop, the doors close, and you're left staring at the mirror with no masks left to wear. That's when the war starts. The war where excuses don't work, where pity doesn't save you, where lies you told yourself echo back like poison. Alone but all right isn't about smiling through the pain. It's about facing the ugly truth and saying, yeah, I'm broken, but I'm still here. That's power, not pretending you're fine. Power is admitting you're crushed, bleeding, and still standing anyway. The world doesn't understand men who walk alone. They label you cold, arrogant, distant. They don't realize solitude is the last classroom, the place where real strength is born. You learn to feed yourself when nobody cooks for you. You learn to heal wounds nobody cares to bandage. You learn to pray not for easier days, but for stronger shoulders. Alone but all right means you finally cut the strings, the endless begging for attention, the endless waiting for someone to call, to ask, to care. You stopped expecting and started building. That's when you became dangerous. Let me be harsh. Nobody feels your pain the way you do. People get tired of your sadness fast. They'll pat your back once, twice, then disappear. They don't want your burden. They don't want your grief. And you were stupid enough to think they did. But don't beat yourself up. You just loved with a heart too big for people too small. The reality is brutal. They don't want to understand you. They just want the easy version of you. The smiling, entertaining, useful version. The moment you showed them your darkness, they scattered like cowards. Alone but all right is the moment you stop chasing cowards and decide to stand in the dark by yourself. And here's the secret. They always come back. Not because they love you, not because they regret, but because silence eats them alive. They expected you to beg, expected you to break, expected you to drown in loneliness. But instead, you went quiet, you went cold, and you started walking without them. And that silence, it screams louder than any argument, any explanation. They'll peek into your life, wondering how the hell you're surviving without them. They'll suffocate in their own questions. And you don't answer. Because silence is your new language, solitude your new home, and strength your only weapon. Let me tell you something about strength. It's ugly. It's not the pretty quotes you see plastered on walls. It's the nights you wanted to end it all, but didn't. It's the mornings you dragged yourself out of bed with swollen eyes and a heavy chest, but still moved. It's the meals eaten cold and alone, the bills paid with no one to thank you. The victories celebrated in silence. Strength isn't loud. It's quiet. It's lonely. It's bitter. But it's real. Alone but all right means you've tasted that bitterness and swallowed it without choking. People think they destroyed you when they left. What they don't realize is they set you free. Free from dependence, free from weakness, free from illusions. You're no longer chained to their validation. You're no longer begging for their crumbs. You're free to build, free to fight, free to rise. Alone but all right means you turned your back on everything fake and chose the hard road of authenticity. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Because at the end of the road, you'll stand as a man nobody can own. Nobody can manipulate. Nobody can break. And maybe that's the point. Maybe you were never meant to be surrounded. Maybe you were chosen to walk the hard road so that when people see you, they don't see just a man. They see a storm, a warrior forged in pain, a shadow that learned how to carry its own fire. Alone, but all right. That's not just survival, it's destiny. The night is always the hardest, isn't it? The streets go quiet, the city lights dim, and suddenly every demon you tried to bury starts crawling back out of the grave. That's when you feel it the most. That hollow space in your chest where people used to be. Friends, lovers, even family sometimes. They all played their part, then vanished like smoke. And you sit there asking yourself, was I not enough? Did I give too little? Did I scare them with my storms? Haha. No, brother. The truth is simpler and darker. They were never built for your weight. Some people are umbrellas. They cover you when the rain is light. But when the storm turns violent, they snap and blow away. Alone but all right means you stopped cursing the storm and started becoming it. You've been stabbed in the back, haven't you? You've carried knives in your spine so long you started mistaking them for bones. Betrayal doesn't just come from enemies. It comes from the ones you loved, the ones you trusted, the ones you swore you'd die for. That's the scar nobody sees. The scar of loyalty given to people who weren't loyal to themselves. And yet, you still stand. You're still breathing. That's the part they'll never understand. They thought betrayal would finish you. Instead, it taught you. Alone but all right means you turned treachery into tuition. Every knife became a teacher. Every scar became scripture. And now, you carry knowledge others are too soft to bear. Let me tell you something straight. The world respects results, not feelings. You could cry oceans, but no one's building a boat for you. They don't care. They're busy with their own storms. And you either drown or you learn to swim with the weight tied to your legs. Alone but all right means you stopped screaming for rescue and started teaching yourself how to float. You built lungs strong enough to breathe under pressure, strong enough to laugh at the very waves that tried to bury you. That's warrior talk. No fairy tales, no sugarcoating, just grit, just survival. just truth. And don't get it twisted. Being alone doesn't mean being empty. Nah, it means you finally got space to fill yourself with what matters. Silence became your music. Discipline became your company. Faith became your anchor. You stopped chasing crowds and started building an empire in the shadows. That's why they fear you now. They look at you and see someone they can't read, can't predict, can't control. Because a man who has mastered solitude is untouchable. He's not swayed by attention, not broken by absence, not manipulated by promises. Alone but all right means your soul stopped being for sale. You want to know the difference between the weak and the warrior. The weak break when left alone. They beg, they chase, they sell their dignity for a seat at the table. The warrior, he builds his own table, even if it takes years, even if he eats alone. And when it's finally done, the same people who mocked his solitude come knocking. Hungry. But by then it's too late. He's no longer begging. He's feeding himself, and he decides who eats and who starves. That's the destiny of the one who chose solitude over slavery. So let them laugh now. Let them mock your silence, your distance, your coldness. One day they'll realize you weren't disappearing. You were sharpening. You weren't broken. You were reborn. Alone but all right means you were writing a story too heavy for their shallow eyes to understand. And when they finally try to read it, the words will choke them. Remember this, brother. Solitude is not punishment. It's purification. The weak fall away so the strong can emerge. Every night you cry, every day you grind. Every breath you take alone is shaping you into something even you don't recognize yet. And when the day comes, when you stand tall, they'll whisper in fear, "How did he survive?" And you'll smile, not because you forgot the pain, but because you mastered it. Alone but all right. That's the prophecy of the grieving man turned warrior. You know what solitude really carves into you? Discipline. When there's no one to clap for you, no one to remind you, no one to beg you to keep going, you either fold or you build a spine made of fire. Alone but all right doesn't just mean you survived the loneliness. It means you let it sculpt you. You learn to wake yourself up when no one called. You learn to feed your hunger with effort, not sympathy. You learn to fight shadows in the night without crying for someone to hold your hand. That's the secret most people never want to face. Nobody's coming. Nobody cares. And if you're still standing, it's because you decided your pain wasn't going to bury you. It was going to build you. Think about all the times you reached out for someone, anyone, and were met with silence. Remember that sting. Remember staring at your phone, waiting for replies that never came. That was life testing you. It was asking, can you keep going even when your heart is starving for comfort? And you proved it. You're still breathing. Alone but all right means you didn't let their silence kill you. You turned it into your own. You started speaking less, listening more, and teaching yourself that not every cry needs an answer. Not every wound gets healed by others. Some wounds, you stitch them yourself with bloodied hands. They'll call you cold now. They'll say you've changed. Damn right you have. You had to. You had to turn off the need for validation, had to kill the dependency, had to shut the door on people who only wanted the easy version of you. Alone but all right means you grew fangs, but you kept your heart. It means you learned to smile less, but your silence now speaks louder than screams. It means you still feel deeply, but you refuse to let anyone see you bleed again. That's not heartlessness, it's survival. You learned the hard way that showing weakness to the wrong crowd is like handing them the knife and pointing to where they should stab. Let's get real. Life isn't soft. It doesn't care about your tears. It doesn't pause because you're tired. It doesn't wait for you to be ready. The world moves, and if you don't move with it, you get crushed. Alone but all right is the mindset of the one who said, I won't get crushed. I'll get carved. Every sleepless night turned into discipline. Every heartbreak turned into hunger. Every rejection turned into resilience. You didn't just survive, you adapted. That's why they don't recognize you anymore. The version of you that begged for love is dead. The version of you that thought people would stay is buried. What's left? A warrior forged in shadows. You might still cry. Don't ever think that's weakness. Tears are the body's way of letting the poison out. But the difference is, you don't let those tears drown you anymore. You let them fall. You wipe your face, and you move. You push weights, you chase goals. You sharpen your mind. You turn grief into fuel. Alone but all right means you're not pretending pain doesn't exist. You're just not letting it own you. That's the difference between men who collapse and men who rise. One day, they'll wonder how you did it. They'll look at you, stronger, calmer, colder, and they'll whisper, he changed. They'll never admit they were part of the reason. They'll never admit they pushed you to this. But you won't even need to say it. Your silence will scream it for you. And in that silence, they'll choke. Remember this truth, brother. Solitude is the crucible. It burns, it scars, it terrifies, but it purifies. It strips away the fake, the fragile, the unnecessary. And what's left is you, the real you. Not the version desperate for attention, not the version chasing love. Just you, raw, sharpened, unbreakable. Alone but all right isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning. It's the proof that even stripped of everyone, you can still stand, still breathe, still fight. That's not survival. That's supremacy. There's something terrifying about waking up in the morning and realizing you've got nobody to text, nobody to call, nobody checking if you even made it through the night. At first, that emptiness crushes you. It makes the air feel heavier, the hours stretch longer, the silence louder. You start questioning your worth, asking yourself why you weren't enough for them to stay. But that's the trap, thinking their absence defines your value. Nah, brother. Alone but all right means you've stopped tying your worth to people who couldn't even carry their own. Their leaving wasn't proof of your weakness. It was proof of their fragility. They cracked under pressure. You were built to survive. Pain has this way of showing you the truth about yourself. When you're surrounded, it's easy to pretend, easy to laugh, easy to fake strength, easy to hide behind noise. But when it's just you, when the lights are off and your chest feels like it's caving in, that's when you see who you really are. That's when you either collapse or crawl. And if you're still here, still breathing, still moving, even with blood in your mouth, that means you chose to crawl. And crawling, brother, is enough. Because crawling turns to walking, walking turns to running, and one day you'll look back and realize that the nights that almost killed you were the very nights that carved you into steel. They'll never admit it, but the truth is, people want you weak. They want you dependent, calling, begging, waiting. It feeds their ego. It makes them feel like they're important. But the second you stop, the second you go quiet, the second you show them you can breathe without their validation, that's when they panic. Alone but all right isn't just survival, it's rebellion. It's saying, I don't need you to validate my existence. I am my own proof. That's what scares them the most. Not your loneliness, not your sadness, your independence. Because independence is power, and power is unforgivable in the eyes of the weak. You know what else solitude does? It forces you to meet yourself. Not the version you show people, not the version they expect, but the raw, ugly, scarred man inside. Alone but all right means you shook hands with your demons and said, you're not going to control me. It means you stopped hiding from your flaws and started fixing them. It means you stopped asking for advice from people who never walked your path and started listening to your own damn instincts. That's growth most people will never touch, because they're too busy drowning their silence with noise. Listen to me. Don't romanticize solitude. It's not pretty. It's not peaceful. It's brutal. It tears at you, rips away your comfort, forces you to sit with your guilt, your shame, your regrets. It shows you every scar, every mistake, every ghost. But here's the thing, that brutality is what makes it beautiful. Because once you've faced your worst, nothing out there can scare you. Once you've walked through fire, the rain feels like mercy. Alone but all right means you've been through hell, and instead of burning, you built a home there. You'll cry again. Don't fool yourself. The pain doesn't vanish. It transforms. Some nights you'll still ache. Some mornings you'll still feel the void. But the difference is, you won't beg anymore. You won't chase anymore. You won't break the way you once did. Your tears will fall quietly. Your chest will ache silently, but you'll keep moving. And that, brother, is strength the world can't buy. One day, they'll see you again. The ones who left, the ones who doubted, the ones who laughed. And they'll stare, trying to recognize the man in front of them. But they won't, because the man you were, the one who needed them, is gone. The man you've become, the one who stands tall in solitude. They'll never understand him. Alone but all right isn't just a phrase. It's a transformation. It's the proof that what was meant to bury you became the soil you grew from. The hardest pill to swallow is this. You will bury versions of yourself that no one will ever mourn. The man who trusted too easily, dead. The man who believed forever meant forever, gone. The man who waited for calls that never came, buried in silence. Nobody will shed a tear for him. Nobody will stand at that grave but you. And that's okay. Because those versions of you had to die for the warrior to be born. Alone but all right means you carried your own coffin, laid your old self in it, and kept walking with dirt on your hands and fire in your chest. That's not weakness, brother. That's rebirth the hard way. People don't understand how much strength it takes to eat alone at a table where you used to share laughter. They don't understand what it feels like to delete conversations that once kept you alive. They don't get the courage it takes to walk past places that still echo with memories. They only see the outside, the calm, the silence. But inside, you're wrestling ghosts, bleeding in invisible places, choking on memories that taste like glass. And yet, you still get up, you still move, you still breathe. That's what makes you dangerous. Alone but all right means you made a deal with your pain. You told it, you can stay, but you won't stop me. Let me break it down raw. Life will never give you back what you lost. Not the time, not the people, not the innocence. It's gone. But what life does give you is the chance to build something stronger in the ruins. Most men waste that chance. They sit in the rubble, crying for a house that's already ashes. But not you. You're stacking bricks, bleeding on the mortar, building walls higher than betrayal, stronger than loneliness. Alone but all right means you built a fortress from the very stones that were once thrown at you. They said you wouldn't make it, didn't they? They counted on your collapse. They expected you to drown in grief, to choke on loneliness, to beg for scraps of love like a dog at their table. And here you are. Maybe not smiling, maybe not healed, but here, breathing, fighting, grinding. Every day you wake up is a slap to their expectations. Every step you take forward is a funeral for their doubts. Alone but all right means you became the nightmare of those who prayed for your weakness. Don't get me wrong, it still hurts. Nights still feel like knives. Sleep doesn't always come. Sometimes you wake up with that ache in your chest that feels like a bullet wound that never closes. But here's the difference now. You don't run from it. You don't numb it with distractions. You face it head on. You let it tear through you, and you use the pain as proof that you're alive, proof that you're still in the fight. Alone but all right means you carry your suffering like armor, not like chains. Let me give it to you straight. Loneliness can kill, but it can also crown. It depends on how you wear it. Weak men wear it like a noose. Warriors wear it like a crown of thorns, bleeding but unshaken. And when you walk with that crown, the world notices. They may not clap, they may not cheer, but they'll feel it in their bones, that silent, heavy aura that says, I survived what you couldn't. That's power no money, no fame, no applause can buy. That's the gift of solitude. So don't curse your loneliness tonight. Don't beg for company that doesn't deserve your presence. Sit with your pain. Hold it, learn from it, and then rise with it burning in your veins. Because one day, when the world tests you again, you'll laugh quietly and whisper, this is nothing. I've already survived hell. Alone, but all right. It's not just survival, brother. It's prophecy. It's destiny. It's the language only warriors understand. You know what people never tell you about being alone? It's loud. Not outside. Inside. Your mind becomes an arena. Every memory screaming. Every regret shouting. Every betrayal replaying like a broken record. And you sit in the middle of it, surrounded by voices that sound like ghosts. That's why most people run from solitude. They can't handle their own noise. They drown it with fake friends, shallow relationships, cheap distractions. But you didn't run. You sat in it. You let it scream. You faced every echo, every lie, every scar. And when the noise finally broke you down to dust, you built yourself back up from the pieces. Alone but all right means you're not scared of your own mind anymore. You turned it into your training ground. Think about it. Everybody wants comfort. But comfort never made anyone strong. Comfort is the poison. It keeps you soft, dependent, fragile. Solitude is the antidote. It strips you down to bone and forces you to rebuild. That's why your story is different. You didn't choose the easy way. You didn't numb yourself with cheap love or shallow attention. You took the punches, you swallowed the tears, you carried the weight. Alone but all right means you accepted the pain as your teacher. And the lesson was simple. Nobody saves you but you. Brutal, isn't it? But the truth always is. Look at the way the world operates. They celebrate noise. They glorify clowns who dance for attention, beg for likes, chase validation like addicts. But the warrior is unseen. The warrior is unheard. He trains in silence, bleeds in silence, rebuilds in silence. And then one day, when the time is right, he steps out and dominates everything. Alone but all right means you don't need an audience to prove your worth. Your results will do the talking. Your scars will do the storytelling. Your silence will do the screaming. And don't think for a second that people don't notice. They do. They notice when you stop calling. They notice when you stop chasing. They notice when your silence becomes heavier than their noise. And that's when fear creeps in, not for you, but for them. Because they realize they lost the version of you who needed them. They'll never say it out loud, but deep down, they regret. Not regret for hurting you, regret for losing control over you. Alone, but all right means you broke their grip, and now you move on your own terms. It's funny, when you were begging for love, they treated you like dirt. But when you went cold, when you went silent, when you started walking without looking back, suddenly you became a mystery. Suddenly your absence was louder than your presence ever was. That's the irony of solitude. It makes you more powerful than presence ever could. Alone but all right isn't just survival. It's transformation into something untouchable. Something they can't figure out. Something they can't destroy. You ever notice how the strongest men are the quietest? That's because they've been through storms that would drown most. They've cried rivers nobody saw. They've buried dreams nobody asked about. They've sat in rooms where the silence was so heavy it felt like it could crush their lungs. And yet, they came out alive. They don't need to shout anymore. They don't need to prove anything. Their existence is proof enough. Alone but all right is the silent oath of those men, the warriors who carry graves in their chest but still walk like kings. So when the loneliness cuts tonight, when the tears burn, when your chest feels like it's caving in, don't run, don't beg, don't break. Sit in it. Feel it. Let it tear you apart. Because tomorrow, when you rise, you'll be sharper, stronger, colder, and one step closer to becoming the man nobody thought you could be. Alone, but all right. That's not a curse, brother. It's the crown. The heaviest crown. The crown only the chosen can wear. There's a moment in every man's life where he finally understands. No matter how loud you scream, the world won't stop to listen. You could bleed in the middle of the street, heart in your hands, lungs gasping for air, and people will keep walking. Some might glance, some might whisper, but few, very few, will step closer. That's the rule of this life. That's the weight of existence. And if you're not ready to carry yourself when no one else does, you'll break. Alone but all right means you saw the crowd pass you by. You saw the ones you loved keep walking, and instead of dying there in silence, you stitched your own wounds and stood back up. Not because you wanted to, but because you had no damn choice. They don't teach you this in school. They don't whisper it in your ear as a child. They let you believe fairy tales. They let you think that loyalty is common, that love is forever, that promises mean something. Then life comes and rips the curtain away. You learn the harsh way that loyalty is rare, love is fragile, and promises are smoke. Alone but all right is what's left when all of that burns away. It's the core of you that refuses to disappear, even when illusions are gone. It's the raw, scarred version of you that doesn't need fairy tales anymore, because he's writing his own story in blood. Think about the betrayals. Don't hide from them. Every knife in your back, every whisper behind your name, every smile that turned to venom. It all taught you something. Maybe you didn't see it then. Maybe you only felt the fire, the humiliation, the collapse. But now you know. You know how to read eyes, how to sense lies, how to walk without leaning on anyone. Alone but all right means you cashed in your pain as tuition, and the diploma is your new vision. Betrayal didn't kill you, it cured you of naivety, and that, brother, is priceless. People look at you now and say, "You've changed." Of course you've changed. Pain changed you. Loss changed you. Silence changed you. What do they expect? That you'd stay the same man who trusted blindly? That you'd stay the same man who begged for love? That you'd stay the same fool who gave everything to people who gave nothing? No, that man is gone. Alone but all right means you buried him, prayed over his grave, and kept walking with a harder face and a sharper soul. That's growth. That's survival. That's the evolution nobody claps for, but everybody notices. Don't get fooled by the idea that being alone makes you less. It makes you more focused, more disciplined, more self-reliant. Alone but all right means your mornings belong to you now. No distractions, no fake smiles, no pointless drama. Just you, your grind, your vision. The world tries to tell you that solitude is emptiness. They're wrong. Solitude is clarity. Solitude is focus. Solitude is the fire where warriors are forged. And you're burning in it every day and coming out stronger each time. Understand this. The ones who left did you a favor. They removed themselves from a story they weren't strong enough to be part of. They freed you from carrying dead weight. Alone but all right means you stopped cursing the empty seats at your table and started realizing that fewer chairs mean fewer betrayals, fewer knives, fewer fake toasts. Sometimes God empties your life so he can fill it with something greater. Sometimes silence is protection. Sometimes solitude is mercy disguised as punishment. So cry if you need to. Cry hard. Let the grief rip through you. But after the tears, after the storm, after the silence, rise. Rise with red eyes. Rise with a heavy chest. Rise with trembling hands if you must. But rise. Because every time you rise, you send a message to the world and to yourself. I cannot be killed by abandonment. I cannot be owned by loneliness. I cannot be broken by silence. Alone but all right. That's the creed, the oath, the brand carved into your bones now. You didn't choose it. It chose you. And you carry it like a warrior carries his blade, quietly, but ready to cut through anything. Nights like this, when the air is heavy and the silence feels like it's sitting on your chest, you start to wonder if you'll ever really heal. You look around the empty room, and it feels like the walls are closing in. That's when memories come back. The laughs, the warmth, the promises, and they hit harder than fists. You replay every scene, every word, until your chest feels raw. And then you realize all over again that they're gone. Not just gone physically, gone from your story, gone from your future, gone from your fight. Alone but all right means you learn to accept that emptiness, not fight it. You stop begging for the echoes to come back, and you start learning how to live with the silence. That's what makes you unshakable. Think about it. Most people can't even sit still without pulling out their phone, without chasing some distraction, without drowning in noise. They run from themselves because facing their own reflection terrifies them. But you sat in that silence. You let it cut you open. You let it tear down everything you thought you were. And somehow, through the screaming, the tears, the sleepless nights, you stayed. That's not weakness, brother. That's war. And you survived it. Alone but all right means you became the kind of man who doesn't need noise to exist. You don't need an audience. You don't need a crowd. You just need your breath, your will, your God, and your grind. They'll say you're heartless now. They'll whisper that you're cold, unreachable, distant. What they don't understand is that your heart is still there. It just grew armor. You stopped handing it out like candy. You stopped letting fragile hands hold it. Alone but all right means your love became sacred, reserved for the rare few who deserve it. Not everybody gets access anymore. And that shift, that's why they're uncomfortable around you. Because they can't manipulate you. They can't control you. They can't drain you anymore. That's the power of solitude. It turns you from prey into predator. Remember how you used to beg for their attention. Remember how you used to sit, waiting for replies that never came. Look at you now. You don't wait anymore. You don't beg anymore. You don't pause your life for people who never thought twice about pausing theirs for you. Alone but all right means you finally flipped the script. You became the one who's hard to reach, the one who doesn't answer immediately, the one who moves on his own time. And that silence, that distance, it screams louder than any words ever could. The truth is, brother, solitude is a gift wrapped in pain. It doesn't feel like it at first. It feels like punishment, like exile, like death. But over time, you see it for what it is, protection. Life pulled people away because they weren't strong enough to walk with you. It isolated you so you could find your real strength. Alone but all right means you stopped cursing the loneliness and started thanking it. Because without it, you'd still be the man chasing shadows, begging for crumbs, breaking under betrayal. Now, you walk with scars instead of chains. Let me tell you something harsh. Loneliness will never leave completely. You'll carry it, always. But instead of being poison, it becomes fuel. It keeps you sharp, keeps you disciplined, keeps you awake. While others drown in comfort, your solitude keeps you hungry. And hunger, my brother, is the key to greatness. Alone but all right means you turned your emptiness into energy, your grief into grind, your silence into strategy. That's why they can't understand you anymore. You stopped living for them, and you started living for something greater. So let the pain stay. Don't run from it. Don't numb it. Don't bury it. Carry it like a blade on your back. Because one day, when the world throws another storm your way, you'll smile through the rain and whisper, "Is that all you've got?" Alone but all right. It's not the end of your story. It's the beginning of the legend you were meant to write. There's a weight that comes with walking alone, the heaviness no words can fully capture. It's like carrying an invisible coffin on your back. Inside it lies every version of you that trusted too much, loved too deep, believed too easily. And every step you take, you feel the weight of those ghosts, reminding you of who you used to be. But here's the twist. Those coffins don't break you. They strengthen you. Alone but all right means you've learned to walk with your dead selves, to carry them without collapsing, to let their graves remind you never to go back. Pain became your companion, silence your ally, and loneliness your mentor. That's a trinity the weak will never understand. You know what really separates you from them? They fear silence. They can't live without the constant hum of validation. They need the world to tell them they're enough. They need the applause, the likes, the messages. Strip it away and they crumble. But you don't just survive the silence, you thrive in it. You turned it into your forge, your temple, your battlefield. Alone but all right means you discovered something most people run from, the sound of your own soul. And once you've faced it, once you've made peace with it, nobody can use loneliness against you again. Don't forget how far you've come. Remember those nights where the pillow was soaked with tears nobody saw. Remember those mornings where getting out of bed felt like lifting a mountain. Remember those days when your heart screamed for help and your mouth stayed shut because you knew nobody cared. You survived all of it. You survived with nothing but grit in your teeth and fire in your veins. Alone but all right means you look back at those nights, those mornings, those days, and instead of shame, you feel pride. Because weakness didn't finish you, it refined you. They will never understand the strength it takes to rebuild yourself with no applause. They will never understand the kind of discipline it takes to keep going when no one's watching. But that's the point. They're not supposed to. This path isn't for them. It's for you. Alone but all right means you accepted the reality that greatness is lonely. Not everyone is built for the climb. Not everyone can handle the altitude. Most choke on the air, but you kept breathing, even when it burned. And now, every step higher is proof that your solitude was not wasted. It was investment. Let me be cruelly honest. People don't value you until they lose you. That's just the law of human nature. When you were available, when you gave, when you loved, they treated you like air. But when you went silent, when you disappeared, when you stopped chasing, suddenly your absence screamed louder than your presence ever did. Alone but all right means you stopped begging to be seen and let your silence blind them instead. They'll regret, they'll ache, they'll wonder, but by then, you'll be too far gone to care. I know it hurts, brother. I know the nights still break you. I know sometimes you hold your chest like you're trying to keep it from falling apart. But that pain is proof you're still alive, proof you're still in the fight. Don't curse it, don't run from it, carry it. Let it burn you, let it scar you, let it shape you. Because every scar is a map, every ache is a compass, every tear is a step closer to the man you were meant to be. Alone but all right means you don't hide from the fire. You walk through it, head high, eyes forward, and when it's all said and done, when the world looks at you and wonders how you're still standing, don't bother answering. Let your silence speak. Let your scars speak. Let your presence, cold, heavy, unshakable, be the only reply. Because in the end, brother, that's what it means to be a warrior. Not smiling through the pain, not denying it, but carrying it with such dignity that even your enemies bow their heads in respect. Alone but all right. It's not survival anymore. It's legacy. You ever sit in the middle of the night, staring at the ceiling, and it feels like the weight of the whole damn world is pressing down on your chest? That's when reality speaks the loudest. No distractions, no fake smiles, no voices in the background. Just you and the truth you've been running from. And the truth? It's brutal. Nobody's coming to fix you. Nobody's coming to wipe your tears. Nobody's coming to carry your weight. Alone but all right means you've stopped waiting at the window for someone who's never walking through the door. It means you finally locked it, shut the blinds, and started finding light in the darkness you thought would kill you. You need to hear this. Not every person who leaves is a loss. Some are lessons, some are warnings, some are poison disguised as medicine. It hurts, I know. It tears you apart to accept that the people you would have died for never had the courage to even stand beside you. But think about it. If they could walk away, were they really meant to stay? Alone but all right means you stopped cursing the exits and started thanking them. Every person who walked out made more room for the man you're becoming. Every betrayal cleared space for your strength. Every silence gave you a chance to hear your own voice again. And let me tell you something cruel but true. People love you as long as you're convenient, as long as you're easy, as long as you're giving, as long as you're smiling. But the second you show your pain, the second you need something back, the second you become heavy, they vanish. That's not love, that's usage. Alone but all right means you learned the difference. It means you stopped confusing attention with loyalty, stopped mistaking words for actions, stopped believing forever just because someone's lips dressed it in honey. Actions, brother, that's all that matters. And when the actions died, you walked away, even if your heart was still bleeding. That's strength. Think about all the nights you wanted to quit. The times you thought, what's the point? The mornings you woke up tired of fighting battles nobody even knew you were in. But here you are, still breathing, still moving, still carrying weight most would have dropped long ago. Alone but all right means you stopped measuring progress by applause and started measuring it by survival. The fact that you didn't fold, that's victory. The fact that you didn't end it, that's proof you're stronger than you think. Every day you wake up, You're spitting in the face of everything that tried to bury you. They'll never understand the silence you carry. They'll never know the weight of the ghosts that walk with you. They'll never feel the scars that burn when the rain hits. But that's fine. It's not their story. It's yours. Alone but all right means you've stopped expecting people to get it. You stopped wasting energy explaining. You let your silence explain. You let your discipline explain. You let your growth explain. Because explanations are for the weak, and silence, it hits harder than any words could. I'll be real with you. It doesn't get easier. The pain doesn't just disappear. You'll always carry it, always feel it. Some days it'll be light, some days it'll crush you. But what changes is you. You grow stronger shoulders. You build a colder heart. You sharpen your mind. Alone but all right means you adapt. And adaptation, that's the secret of warriors. We don't wait for the storm to pass. We learn to fight in the rain. One day, they'll look for you. Not because they love you, but because the silence will eat them alive. They'll wonder how you survived without them, how you thrived without their presence. And you won't need to answer. Your life will be the answer. Your strength will be the answer. Your solitude will be the answer. Alone but all right isn't weakness, it's prophecy. It's the destiny of those too strong to be broken, too dangerous to be dependent, too alive to die in silence.